Hi, folks. Steve Urban here, founder, CEO of recruiting firm Riderflex. A tip for anybody out there today working in a difficult environment that has changed recently. The expenses have started to be cut. There's no more donuts in the break room. They've laid a few people off. They've turned off some vendors or services that you really need to get your job done. The executive team is walking around super stressed out. They are crashing down on everybody to improve results. They've increased the key performance indicators or the metrics or the goals that you need to hit, which seem impossible. Et cetera, right? All of a sudden, the company that you liked or that you used to work for, or that you've always enjoyed working for, things have changed, right? It's gotten stressful. It's gotten demanding, more difficult. It's not as fun anymore, et cetera. If you're in that situation and you're an employee and you aren't at the executive level, so you don't get to see the cash flow, the income statement, the profits, the bank account. You don't get to see all that. I think it's really important to try and remember that most likely the executive team, they're not waking up every morning with the goal of creating a toxic atmosphere, right? They don't meet for coffee at 6:30 a.m. at a coffee shop before they get to the office and go, okay, guys, let's make sure we're driving a really shitty ass atmosphere and a toxic atmosphere today. Yes, there are some asshole bosses out there. Okay. I'm not saying there's not, but most of the time, the executive team, they want the employees, they want the team members to be happy because they know if they are that, there's more productivity, et cetera. So they're not purposely trying to drive a toxic atmosphere most of the time. What's probably happening is they lost some cash. Maybe they were trying to raise another round of cash and it didn't come through. Maybe they lost a huge customer that used to be 30% of the business, and now all of a sudden revenue's down. Maybe there was a patent involved. Maybe there was a product that didn't get launched on time that caused something to do with cash flow issues. And now they are in panic mode and they're trying to turn the company around or save the company. And so they're doing all kinds of things. They're cutting expenses. They're putting more demands on people. They're super stressed out, et cetera. They're doing that most of the time to save the company. Most of the time. There's always sometimes there's alternative things going on behind the scenes, right? Maybe there's a merger, there's an acquisition about to happen. But a lot of times they're just trying to save the situation. I mean, they're trying to ensure that they make payroll next month and get you paid as an employee. And they're doing everything they can to make sure they don't run out of cash so they don't miss payroll or so they don't have to lay more people off. What's my point of this rant? My point is this. I do see often people at the employee level that have never been executives, never been founders, never been business owners. I see people at that level quickly attack and assume that maybe the executives are being assholes just for no reason. Like, oh my God, it's such a toxic atmosphere here, and it's so terrible that we don't have our annual conference anymore. And can you believe that our company cars used to be Mercedes and now they're Toyotas and whatever. Just employees just complaining about stuff right away and making a bunch of assumptions and almost acting like the executive team is purposely trying to drive a toxic atmosphere. Most of the time they're not. Most of the time they're not. So I encourage you to dig in a little bit before you make some assumptions and just go on the negative, right? Ask people at the higher level, like, hey man, what's going on? Like What's up with these cuts? Did something happen? Try to understand. Sometimes they won't be able to tell you everything, but try to gather as much information as you can so that you can understand the situation and get a better feel for what they are going through. It will help you not have such a negative attitude because you'll have a better idea of what's going on. Now, is it their responsibility as leaders to tell you most of this so that you do know, so that you're not in the dark? Yes, it is. Not all leaders are great communicators. So sometimes they're not communicating properly, or they haven't told you. Sometimes they can't tell you, but just ask questions. Don't make assumptions that leaders are purposely trying to drive new toxic atmospheres. That's usually not the case. Most of the time, it's something to do with cash and the company on a spiral downhill, and they're trying to save the situation. And there is your Riderflex tip of the day.